the district. The district is the 16th district, and it's Fresno, Madera, and Merced counties. So it's a newly formed district, and it's one that my opponent, Jim Costa, has never been voted for in Merced or Madera counties. So Merced and Madera counties, we need to make inroads quick and before Jim has the opportunity to do that to get the voters on his side. The district is also 65% Hispanic and 35% foreign-born. So while it looks and sounds like I'm Irish, because I am, I also grew up Argentine. So part of the background that I have that hopefully will help this process is that I speak Spanish. So cuando tengo que hablar con la gente en español, voy a hablar en español. So that hopefully will help a little bit with the outreach to the Hispanic communities. To give background about myself, I was raised in Fresno. I actually had farming interests in pistachios on Avenue 9 and Road 36. We sold the pistachios recently, and we're going into grapes, and we're going to do a small winery out there. Wise man told me that if you want to make a small fortune in the wine business, you start with a large fortune. So that's kind of the direction we're going in, but it's something that we have a lot of hope and something that we're really looking forward to is doing a little winery out there, catty corner to Birdstone. So I grew up here in the Central Valley. I went to San Joaquin Memorial for high school. I went to Cal for undergrad, and then I went to Rutgers for law school. I came back, and I've been practicing law here in Fresno, Madera, and Merced counties, and I've represented a lot of ag business entities and homeowners associations, representing here in Madera, actually. And I've been in a position where I've explored some of the problems that we have with water. I've had a lot of conversations with folks that are impacted tremendously by shortage of water. Also bounced ideas off of Judge Wanger on how to solve some of our problems with the Endangered Species Act. And some of the problems that we have can be resolved with kind of a common sense approach. Some things that should be self-evident to people, but maybe aren't because they're looking beyond the practical resolution that we have. The Endangered Species, just to give a little bit of background, the Endangered Species Act was enacted in 1973. And in 1978 was the first time that the Supreme Court in the Tennessee River Valley versus Hill case examined the act and determined whether or not human species would even function or be considered in the act. They said that whenever the critical species, in that instance, the darter snail, was in jeopardy or its critical habitat, then you wouldn't take into consideration the human species. So it's game over. So to restore balance to the act, and this is something that the judge and I had some conversations about, what you do is you institute a one-line balancing requirement. You will consider human species with legitimate environmental concerns. And so what you've done there is then you give, prospectively, you've given judges the ability to balance the equity. And then when environmentalists come to turn off the pumps, you have the environmental impact reports and you have science that you can consider, and you balance it and you go in favor of human beings, if that's the instance. So the blunt-nosed leopard lizard or the fairy shrimp or the delta smelt or any number of issues that we have, at least the human species will be taken into consideration. And that's something that impacts all of us as farmers and all of us as residents in the valley, is our access to water. There are many other issues with water access and improving storage that I hope to go in that direction to solve some of our problems both east and west side. But the real reason why I'm running against Jim Costa is because deficit spending and our debt, it threatens the way of life here in this country. If we don't take control and put ourselves back on the right path, then we're on an unsustainable path that at some point we will go broke. And that's something that I see very clearly. And that's something that Jim Costa, my opponent, doesn't. He's somebody that votes for the next election. It's how am I going to get back into this position? How am I going to get back into office? Right now he's touting his flag as being the friend of the farmer and somebody that he's voting for water issues now. In 2009 he wasn't. The next election versus the next generation, that's what Jim Costa is, that's his gear. He's been around for 34 years. He's been a politician longer than I've been alive. And it's something that, as a free people in a free society who govern ourselves freely, we can ask him to step down. And we can only do that by voting him out. So the power is in your hands as voters. You have power. You have tremendous power. And you can vote him out, but it's going to be not only your votes, but you're going to have to tell people also about this campaign. You're going to have to go around and you're going to have to tell your friends, you got to vote for Brian Whelan. And because you also have limited amounts of friends, I'm going to need your dollars too. Because in order for me to reach the 702,000 people that are in this district and to give them my message about, common sense approach to how we solve some of our problems, we're going to need to pay for media. Some of you may have heard today on KMJ, there was an ad that was airing a few times during the day. There'll be some more ads tomorrow to try and get people animated about the campaign. We have received the endorsements from the Fresno, Madera, and Merced County GOP groups. So that's helping us along, and that was being blasted today on the radio. But those radio ads, though they're short, it seems like they shouldn't cost that much money or extremely expensive. And so as things progress, there's going to be more expense that's going to be incurred. And it's expense that, I've fronted about $20,000 to try and get things going, but I really need your support, and I really thank you very much for coming out and supporting the fundraiser. If people are in the ability, have the ability or desire, I hope you have both, to contribute more, or also to even set up small gatherings where I could come and pitch the message and say, hey folks, come on board, even if it's not financially, but if you can walk districts with us. Jason in the back was walking precincts all day today with his buddy. I'm sorry, Chris. Get you confused with Han. Sorry, Chris. And it's this grassroots approach that we're going to have to take. I'm going to get outspent by a lot. Jim Costa's got about $600,000. I've raised only about $105,000. I'm going to get outspent. But people are tired of the same old. We should be tired of the same old because we can do better than that. We can do better than being one of the poorest districts in the country. We are the poorest district in the country. We have the highest concentration of poverty in the country is right here in this district. We can do better than that. We're a very successful agricultural economy. We can do better than having hundreds of thousands of acres of land fallowed. We deserve better, and I hope that you help me do it, and I really appreciate you coming.
Have you been endorsed by the Farm Association?
I met with the Farm Bureau in Sacramento last Friday and asked for their endorsement, but they want to see the Madera, Merced, and Fresno Farm Bureaus get behind. The Madera Farm Bureau said that they wouldn't be taking sides in the race. The Merced Farm Bureau said that they are going to wait until after the primary to do a candidate forum. And then the Fresno Farm Bureau is going to have a candidate forum on May 2nd. So I want their support here. I want to be their friend, mutual friendship here. Dave wants to help me out on that too.
There you go.
So thank you very much for coming, and if you have any questions.
I see you've got a couple of yard signs around here. Can we take a couple of them and put them in the
Yeah,
yards?
that would be great. I'd love you to take a couple
Bumper
of yard
stickers
signs.
too.
And bumper stickers, slap them on Democrats' tails.
We don't know any Democrats.
Well, we're in good company.
Excuse me. If anyone would like to host a meet and greet or a little coffee in their home, they'll just talk to me and we can set it up. Thank you.
And thank you very much for the Shapers and Saviers and Sagrabellas for hosting this. It's a tremendous, I really appreciate it. So thank you. So big thanks to you.